Hello there folks, thanks for tuning in to another video on Scotland and its history. Now, my local area has two very ancient churches which have associations with two of Scotland's greatest heroes. This one here, which is St Brides Church in Douglas, and the other one which I've got to do a video on a wee bit later on, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. That is St Kentigern's Church in Lanarkshire. Now, St Kentigern's is associated with Wallace, but I'll cover that in that video when I get a chance to get it filmed, to get it put up, so keep an eye out for that one. And here, well, it's in Douglas, so you could maybe make the link yourself. It's associated with the Douglas family and one of Scotland's most famous sons being the Black Douglas, as he's commonly known, but the good Sir James, or simply Sir James Douglas. And he is actually buried in this location, in that building there. But we'll get to that a wee bit later on. We'll have a wee walk around the building and a wee discussion about it. It's a truly marvellous place. Every time I come here I see something new, and this trip is no different. It's in a stunning setting. The ancient masonry there. You can see the different levels and the different ages of construction. But we'll have a wee walk around. Like I said, keep your eyes peeled when you come here. Every time I come I bump into something new, see new stonework, etc. And I'll show you a couple of things that I've noticed today. Now, Douglas is an old, very old town. It's still in a pretty much medieval layout, although a lot of the buildings are considerably younger. But even at that, there's a lot of buildings that surround me that are 17th century by the looks of them. But we'll have another wee look at that in a future video as well, and we'll look at some of the history of some of the buildings. But I'll just point out some there. I mean, like these here, you can see with the window layout and just the general look of them. Really early. That's another one there, and just over there, that's actually a museum, but again, that's in an old building. There's a lot of history surrounding this area. Not just its association with the Douglas family, but in the Black Douglas himself. But as I say, there's a lot of proud Scottish history in this neck of the woods. We'll just take a wee pop through here. It's stunning. Stunning archway. A lot survive. A lot of the old stonework still survived, though sadly hasn't got a roof on it. This part of the church is actually a burial site as well, and it's a burial plot for the Ingalls family. Which there's different stories on how it became to be a burial plot for the family, but the general gist of it is, at one time an Ingalls done a favour for the Douglases, and in return all that they asked for was they get them and their families get buried alongside their master. but some say it was an angle saved Sir James Douglas in battle. Others say that it was simply just he overheard an English plan to attack and pass the information on. But either way, they done a favour for the Douglases, and they were rewarded. You can see like I said, you can see different levels or different ages of construction. These are the arches, the older arches. I'll show you them on the outside, on the rear face of that. You'll see this arch here, a smaller one. Seems to have been stoned up as a support for the tower there. The tower's probably the latest part of the building. It was constructed in 1612. The rest of it is 14th century, mid to late 14th century. But a lot of the stonework has obviously been robbed and reused from the older church that stood on this site. There'd been a church on this site since at least the 1200s. So it's fair to say that, as tradition was at the time, as I say, they didn't let things go to waste. Stone and masonry that was there for the previous church would have just get reused. So a lot of what you see in this building here would have probably been part of an older building. But like I say, keep that archway in mind. You'll see what I mean there. There's the older arch, and that'll be a younger one built within it when they stoned up that section there. But if you have a wee look in this corner, this is an older surviving part of this alcove here, and some older carved stones there. This is a sort of arch in it. Now that's the part of the building, the choir that the Black Douglas is buried in. In fact, his relatives and descendants that came after him are buried in there up till, I think, at least the mid 1400s, when the Douglases suffered at the hands of the crown. But that's a complex story, that one. That's one for another time. That building there, believe it or not, that for a spell didn't have a roof on it. Up until I think the 1800s, it went a spell of 100 or more years without having a roof on it. But luckily someone found the money and kindly restored the building. We can't go in there today, but well, due to the time, as you'll notice with the setting sun there in the west and the shadows getting longer, it's a bit late in the day. But we've also, due to COVID restrictions, can't get into these sort of places. But as soon as we're able to do so safely, I'll get back and get access, and we'll have a wee look inside. It's stunning. A look down from the window ledge into the Ingalls aisle. So it's brilliant how that survived. Just been incorporated into the later construction. Now, I said that each time I come here I see something new. Well, just up here is one of the things I noticed today, and that is that carved stone there. Don't ask me why, but I hadn't previously noticed it. Now that's obviously an older part that's been reused, and it's been incorporated next to that archway. But check that view out, stunning. This isn't the original level from what I've been led to believe that we're standing on here. It's a couple of feet higher than what it would have originally been. Apparently, I'll show you when you go around here, there's a section outside there, and that's meant to represent what the original level would have been, which explains a lot on why you have to duck going through this door. I mean, I'm kind of running about the 6 foot mark, so I'm a wee bit taller than your average medieval person, but not by that much. As I say, it's a wee duck. Now back out into the graveyard. Now, like I said, the clock tower is a later add-on. It's 1612, and you'll see the clock face on it. I'll put a couple of pictures on that. Now I don't know if you'll be able to make out, but there's a date on the clock. Top two corners you got AD, and the bottom two corners you got 1565. So 1565, I'm sure you'll agree, makes that a pretty old clock, and in fact it is believed to be the oldest working clock in Scotland. So yeah, another wee claim to fame for this. Not only does it act as a resting place for one of Scotland's greatest sons and heroes, but also is Scotland's oldest working clock. Now just go around the side here. This is what I was talking about inside the Ingles aisle. You'll see down here, now if you take a level here, you'll notice that that's sweeping down there. Apparently that was the original level there. So you're a couple of foot. There's a doorway there, there's an access point for going up to maintain the clock. You'll see there's been a different shaped or a window above there at one time. Now, don't know if you'll be able to see on this, but I will add a picture, and if you come here, keep a wee eye out for it. Just to the right hand side of the clock, if you go just up the line on the corner there is halfway up from the end of that apex here, halfway between that point and that ledge here below that window at the top, there's a stone right there, and it's got a cross on it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's very similar to the cross used by the Knights Templar. Now, I believe that's an older stone that's been reused again, so it's the first time I've seen that, so I'm going to need to do a wee bit of research into that, but that could suggest Templar involvement or a Templar link in this area, which would be pretty cool. Now there's another wee thing, if you don't go walk all the way around this and keep your eyes peeled, it's pretty obvious once you get close to it, but a lot of people might not come round the rear end of the church, but if you don't, you're missing out, and I'll just go to quickly turn you around. That there was a medieval coffin, stone coffin, carved out of a solid block of stone. You'll see quite obvious the head position there, feet would have been down there. Unfortunately, as I say, it's seen better days. It's got a big crack through the middle of it and a big chunk off the side, but this would have been a coffin for somebody important. You wouldn't have been a simple peasant like myself and expect to get buried in something like that, but maybe been a Douglas link, or certainly, as I say, somebody important anyway. You see, they would have been laid to rest in there and a stone slab put over the top. But that's pretty cool. Just a shame that it's been left outside to weather and unfortunately suffered. We'll have a wee walk round. If you're into old gravestones as well, or just gravestones in general, this is a good site to visit. There's some really old ones. You don't get an appreciation of how beautiful these windows are from the outside, but if you tune into my future video and we go inside, you'll get a true appreciation of them, but get some stunning knotwork and that on them. If you're coming here, there's a reasonable amount of parking as well. There's parking down there at the gates. If you've never been here before and you need directions, feel free to put a comment below. I'll be more than happy to help. Definitely put it on your to-do list. You're not far away from Glasgow or Edinburgh, just off the side of one of the main motorway south as well, the M74. So it's well within most people's means if they're visiting here as a tourist, and it's a great town to have a look round. It's steeped in history, like I said, so definitely give it a visit. Put it on your to-do list. And that's like I said, it was without a roof for a number of years, pretty much over 100 from what I gather. And that's your entrance point now. So you'll get details on this site as well from Historic Scotland. So there'll be details on their website if you want to check it up, and you can look at how you gain access, etc. I believe there is a key that you have to get, but that'll be for another day. There's a wee notice board out the side which gives you a bit of brief history. Now that there is the tomb of the great man himself, Sir James Douglas. Now this is meant to be a later 15th century construction, but the effigy here in the tomb, it's all original from about 1331. He died in the year 1330, so he actually died in Spain in a place called Teba, at the Battle of Teba, fighting in assistance of one of the Spanish leaders, Alfonso. He was on a crusade taking Robert the Bruce's heart to the Holy Land. Robert had died the year previous in 1329, and he'd made Sir James promise that because Robert hadn't managed to go on crusade during his life, that he would take his heart on a crusade after his death and leave it there in the Holy Land. But sadly, neither Robert's heart or Sir James made it to the Holy Land. They got as far as Spain, and sadly that's where Sir James's life ended. But they brought him back here to Scotland along with Bruce's heart. Now there's a great story surrounding the whole battle and the pledge, taking the heart and everything like that. I'm going to save that for the next video when we actually gain access inside. And as I say, this one will be getting a wee bit long now, and I don't want to do that. I'll dedicate that to the next video, so keep your eyes open for that. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, by all means do so. If you like this sort of thing, hit the bell icon to be kept up to date with any future productions. And again, like, share and ask questions, leave comments, it's all welcome. But we'll get inside. It's a stunning building. It's actually got Sir James's heart on display as well, and a lead casket is behind glass on. Let's see, it mentions there 1455. That's the year when the Douglases fell out of favour. But stunning. Well folks, like I said, we'll do a future video where we'll get inside, we'll look at the inside in a lot more detail, and we'll look at how Sir James came to die and the mission that he was on. But I'm just going to take you round here just before we go, and we'll have a look. I did say I would take you round here. Forgive the modern metalwork there, but when you get to the age of these sort of structures, you can expect things to fall off. Now, you can see these arches a lot better for this side, and you can get a wee look at the tower as well. So you get these columns here, stunning medieval columns, carved tops on them, and then off of them you've got the older arches, and in here you get this carved alcove, which I believe would have probably held a candle or something, possibly a religious effigy, but I would think a candle. But you can see the older construction and the later, and that arch I was talking about, to remember, that's it on this side here. Then you'll see that it's contained within the older arch, and it's all been stoned up there as well. To act as a sort of support. But I just wonder if it's been part of a sort of vaulted cellar for the tower. And on this side here, when you got that one there, that arch coming over and then terminating here, you get this stunning bit of stonework. Absolutely stunning bit of medieval carving there. It's great that this survives in just a wee village. But I mean, the arches, if you take them, it'd probably have been about this sort of height here. I mean, that wall itself is the best part is sort of 10 foot, so to the underside of the arches you'd have probably been looking at, say, maybe 13, 14 feet. That's just a rough guess, but I say they've been quite substantial. And that's a museum down there. It's worth going in and seeing as well if you're visiting here, but it's only open certain days and between certain months of the year. So if you're planning a journey, have a wee look and see if it's going to be open. It's well worth seeing. You can see there just the top of one of the older arch still exposed. But yeah, Anyway, this is probably getting long enough, and the light's starting to fade now. The good thing is, the nights are getting longer, so we'll be able to get out and do a lot more sort of stuff and get it up. But we'll call this one a day or a night, and I just say thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this. If you do, like I said, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, leave comments, ask questions, and of course share the videos. That's what it's all about. Scotland's histories get swept under the carpet for far too long. It's time we stopped it. It's time we promoted it, got it to the fore where it should be, and yeah. So until next time, folks, you take care, and haste you back, Slange.